coming out next, I
Well,
guess.
in fact, they wrote a letter saying they were
Yeah.
fine with the shed.
I wonder how.
I mean, I think one of the things that's interesting to know about the house is that it does not have a garage. It has, you know, it was built with a one-car garage and had been converted to rooms. So the shed does have a use value for bikes and stuff that they can.
Okay. And if you included the square footage from the shed, you're still well under what coverage would limit you to.
Right.
Okay. John, one thing I noticed on the zoning page, you've got a front yard to the north with a 35-foot minimum, and the existing is 17.4. That's non-conforming, but it's just continuing.
The existing house is almost half of the house is in the front yard setback.
Okay.
And I think the house predated some.
All right. And you're not making any change there? Okay. I went out to see this. The lady who owns the house had to physically show me where the shed was because I couldn't see it from where the patio is. So maybe that's not evergreen and it'll come down in winter, but it really is out of the way, not, I think, causing any problem. So I'll make.
May I make a few comments?
I'm sorry.
I've been on the board for 10 years. We've had sheds come before us, and we routinely do not permit them outside the setback. I know you said that it's needed because they want to put their bikes there, but they made a decision, apparently somebody did.
You mean inside the setback?
Well, inside the setbacks, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Somebody made a decision to change the garage and give up the use of the garage for additional room, so there was a benefit there. The fact, my opinion is that if we allow this, we've now created and opened up the floodgates to everyone else who has a shed, who wants to build a shed. The sheds oftentimes are put right at the end of the property line, infringing upon other people's views. Of course, the neighbors don't have an objection because they have a shed there. And again, the statute or the ordinance is clear that they cannot be outside the setbacks. I hope I got that right. Inside the setbacks, thank you. So I don't see any reason why we should make an exception here. I think it's problematic. I think it runs contrary to what we've been doing for 10 years that I've been on the board, quite frankly.
Okay. I don't want to forestall other comments from the board. Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree if they had built it themselves, but it's a problem created for them by the previous owners. It's not a problem for the neighborhood. It's not a problem. It's not visible. It's, the neighbors don't object for whatever reason. They don't object. And I don't see why this should be their problem when it's really not creating a problem for anybody else.
The backyard neighbor is the school, is that?
Felix's, isn't it?
The backyard neighbor is the school, but I think also there's a development going on behind the school above the hill. So there's a steeply sloping backyard, so the existing house that I think is being built back here is very much up the hill. It would not have a.
And they were notified?
Yes.
Oh, do you have the notice?
Yes, he did.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Can I ask a question of the board? Is it to Artie's point, is the board routinely denied or forced people to make sheds like this?
It's very, when people have come in to, there has not been one before.
Yeah.
That's a much tougher sell.
Right.
And there was at least one shed, I think it was on Riverview Road some years ago, that we ruled we would not approve. We would not approve the location of that shed. And then
Even though it was there at the time?
I don't remember.
That was Owen's home, if I remember.
I think you're right.
It was
but
the
I can't
house.
remember whether he put it up previously or not.
Actually, it was a brand-new shed, and it really was a problem to take it down, but we remained consistent, I think, with what this board has said throughout the 10 years that I've been here, which is no sheds.
But when you say brand new shed, you mean he put it up?
Yeah.
Okay, well I think that's a distinction that Sarah should have
But
pointed
Artie,
out.
when you say consistent with 10 years, you're talking about new sheds, is that
No,
right? Or any shed?
I don't recall us ever approving a shed that was inside the setbacks. Thank you. Seriously, I cannot.
We just had one in front of you for Matheson. an existing shed that was inside the setback.
It was already there.
It was already there, and it was not it's not a new shed, it's a rebuild of an existing shed. And it's just sort of the same argument. It's a pre-existing condition. It's making the condition better. It's, if we looked back at it in terms of what potential negative impact this had, that's where our focus would be.
Well, I think one of the tests are, can you, before we grant the variance, is there a less intrusive means of doing this? And this shed could be put closer to the building theoretically, and not at the property line. I just think it sets a horrible precedent, quite frankly.
I mean, I think, the position there would be that the project that's in front was for some hardscape and some correction of some water problems on the side of the house. And it wasn't about new square footage, new storage space, new interior space. I think if we were coming before you for a project that expanded the interior of the house, then an argument could be made that the shed should future, if there was a garage project or something like that, I think it would be, an easy position to take. So yeah, take the shed out and put that storage in the new garage. But this project is really for a little retaining wall that is collecting water that's coming down the hill and a patio increase. So, and I think in the future there may be a project that, whether this is legalized here, I don't know if it could be made contingent if square footage is added to the house in the future and storage is part of that program, that this should be moved to replace.
Yeah, I mean, if they had built the shed themselves, I might have a different view. Or if the shed was problematic,
Right.
and their previous owners had built it, I might have a different view. But given the fact that they didn't build it, it's not problematic, I'm not sure why we're gonna force them to fix something
Right.
just because we want to.
And already just to.
Well, because it's a violation of the ordinance, but that's neither here nor
But
there.
to play devil's advocate in terms of impact, moving the shed into the yard inside this have more of a visual impact to the neighbors, both the uphill neighbors and the downhill neighbors. You could imagine, like, pulling it away from its screening that it is now, relocating it inside the setback here, means that there's potential views from this neighbor and from the,
Unless you screen it at that location.
you know,
If you moved it so that it's not in any setback, it would have to be, 15 feet? What's the setback at that point?
35 feet in and 15 feet in, it would have to be in this corner, very close to the house, and it would still be centered in the play yard. And I think the negative impact to the applicant would be great, or would be significant, because it would affect the yard, even if we don't.
Well, and the neighborhood, because you'd be looking at it then. Everybody'd be looking at
Potentially
it
be
then.
seeing it
Yeah.
from Riverview.
You can't see that now from Riverview. You gotta look really hard.
I mean, they can't see from anywhere in the yard,
Right.
but the
Oh,
neighbors
you mean
also
as it
can't
exists
see it
now.
because they have a shed right next to it, blocking the view. Yeah.
Right.
If you wanted to, you could build a shed right in the middle of the backyard, which would be less attractive. An eyesore, depending on what you built, for all the neighbors and the people on driving up and down Riverview. For myself, I don't see the point of requiring these people to change that. It's just my view. I recognize there may be different views of the
And the likelihood of them building a shed in the middle of the backyard is pretty remote too, but that's a good point you made, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyone else want to be heard from the board or ask a question?
I don't know the benefit of the 10 years that
Some of us have.
some of the members have, but I would just say that I do know that our general policy is that if something can be done in a less intrusive way, that is what sort of rules the day. So my only question is, once you make this exception, I mean, do you want to make the exception only if it precedes? Because I see, the next thing on our docket is the same kind of thing.
I have good
legalizing-
news about that.
Okay,
Ed Marin made a mistake. There is no shed on that property,
there you go.
so I can solve it out.
Unless they took it down quickly.
Unless you build it this week. Could you?
No.
Okay, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say to that I agree that should be the standard when people are building things, but this was a problem created by previous owners. And like I said, it's not a problem in and of itself. If either of those factors were different, they were building it, or if it was problematic, I would agree with that completely. But that's not the case here.
And that's all I would be saying in an opinion letter, not that other sheds are okay under different circumstances. But this one in particular, I mean, the reason we do this piece of property is every piece of property is different. And, you know, there may be similar circumstances about the owners did not build it and so forth, but it is problematic, and then we would have the same result, but the other way around. Not problematic, that they put us in violation of it. So we don't have either of those. Anything else for the board? Anything from the assembled audience? Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve this application with the notations to go in the opinion letter about the fact that the applicants did not build this. The shed was there before they moved in, and the shed is located, as far as any of us can see, is not problematic. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll vote from the left.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Thank you, John. All right. We're approved, John, on loan. Sorry.
You did.
Oh, that's right.
I'll have a clear conscience when the next shed comes up, though.
The good news is you don't get to vote on the shed
Not this one.
on this application. I talked to Ed Mayer and he said he just makes a mistake.
Okay, so this is just stricken off it, or never submitted, or,
No, we have an application,
but not with the shed, gotcha.
right. This is Maglin and Burgos. Want to come up and tell us what you're doing that does not involve the shed?
Right, yeah, that's fine.
We're making some changes to the services.
I'm sorry, could you speak up and sort of again?
My name is Christina Griffin. I'm an architect representing Chloe Gallen and Ardeen Burgos.
No, so do you have the service, did you,
The notes,
yep, did you?
Those were submitted to Sarah in the.
submitted.
You've given them to Sarah Bliss?
Yes.
Yep, and so your name again?
Christina Griffin. We're in the process of renovating the house, the full house renovation, and the master bedroom renovation. And we're here because we're planning to renovate the patio and for mostly reasons related to the budget, we'd like to change the plants around the house. When we were here last time, we received variance for rebuilding the entry here, and we decided not to do this path and to eliminate these steps, and all of these areas are crumbling, they're in terrible shape, and instead have one path instead, because it works. It's the most cost-effective way to find a way to improve these paths, one going to the land on the house. We're also here because we need to put a concrete pad for the condensers that will be needed for the full house, for the master bedroom suite, and for the lounge that's next to the full room. And we had originally tried to put these units over here, but it's very difficult because we have to trench through rock. We looked at putting them over here, but the rock is right up against the house. So we are now planning to put the condensers on a pad, and we're planning to have that area covered with a new fence, and that fence will match the fence that we're going to be putting over here, which is just replacing the existing fence. So when it comes to the zoning code, you might remember most of this house is non-conforming. This is our front yard setback. So the house is in the front yard setback, so that when we do the condenser pad, we would need a variance for putting that here. And we're changing the impervious surfacing, but we're actually reducing it by a small amount. It's a non-conforming coverage, and we have to have the survey redone because we found the old survey was too inaccurate. So all our calculations are based on, what is there and what we're proposing.
Have you, I don't think we got that as part of the package, the new survey.
We should have.
Did anybody else get that? We have two large spreadsheets, S1 and S2.
That's the other thing.
We can make sure get submitted. I know we discussed it with the planning board. That shows existing conditions.
Right.
What we're proposing is eliminating this walk and eliminating these steps, which used to lead to being here and have just one set of steps and walk. And by doing so, once we add up the new impervious surfaces, we compare it to the previous total, we're slightly less.
I've got you as 10 square feet less.
Tiny house. But we wanted to make sure we had an accurate calculation. And we also need, of course, an as-built survey, so we decided to have the survey updated. And then I have another page, if you'd like to see the elevations of the fence that is going to be now on this side of the house. This is the facade facing Lower Lake. This fence is replacing this. This is the new fence that we're going to build around the condensing units.
Right. That we do have. So basically, the reason you're back here is because much of what you propose to do now is within the setbacks. And was what you originally proposed to do when you came to see us several months ago. The total numbers on coverage are the same or 10 square feet less.
Yes.
In terms of incursion into the setbacks, as I read your zoning page, your front yard setback is supposed to be 35 feet. It is not and has never been.
Yes.
Your setback to the main house, your distance to the main house is 16.64 feet, which it was originally under your prior.
Yes.
The distance to the existing air condenser, is 12.42 feet. And you're going to put in this new concrete path, which is in between the two. It's 14 feet and change,
Yes.
right?
That's correct.
That's what the yellow stuff is, plus the little black rectangle you have there.
This is the new pan for the condensing units. This is what we're removing. It's in yellow.
Okay,
This is our new pan.
right. And the new path is roughly 10 square feet less in coverage than the yellow area that
Yes.
you're removing. That's how you get the savings, so to speak.
Exactly.
And the patio, you're taking the existing patio and you're renovating it,
Yes.
but you're not changing the numbers in terms of size.
We did extend it a little. It just so happens it lines up with the sliding doors that we have here. So we have we add up all the new impervious surfaces compared to the old. We're still a little less than we had before.
Okay. And the fence that's there now is a little bit dilapidated. You're going to replace that?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And it's roughly the same size and location?
Same. Yes.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Any comments from the audience? Okay. I went to visit the property and we looked for quite a while for the appending shed and did not find it. There is a porta stand in the front yard. I presume that's not permanent though, is that right?
Hopefully that.
No.
That has confused, but since I think what you're doing is basically for economy and other reasons, replacing what you proposed in terms of coverage with something that is a little bit less, and differences do not seem to me to be a material change, certainly not a material adverse change, not material at all and not adverse. For me, this application is not a difficult one, and so I will move to approve it as submitted. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, we'll vote from the right. John, you're up first.
I vote yes. A couple comments. So, just as a general principle, the fact that a setback has been violated once, I think, doesn't make it easier to say we can have another violation of the setback. You've added another violation. In this case, I don't think it makes any difference. And that's particularly true because the house across the street as I saw the house, there's only one window that looks in the direction of that house, and that's the upper floor and the case were drawn. So, notwithstanding the setback issue, I don't know how the neighbor's gonna have any issue at all. So I'm happy to agree, to vote yes.
Okay, no precedent for other setbacks, right?
Right.
Right, okay.
This is a window. Yes or no comment?
What's going in?
Louise?
Yes.
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 Okay. To approve, thank you. Okay, Jenkins, you're up next. So,
Thank you.
Got a shed too?
Before you get started, Ed Marin and I discussed this application as well. The notice referred to an application to the zoning board to legalize an undocumented excavation. That is not our jurisdiction. The village has to do that through some other process. I'm amazed that this has been held up for 5 months because of that, but that is not our role to fix. So you have to go elsewhere to get that done. Okay. So we're talking about the proposed retaining walls and the patio, changes in coverage and what screening. I was out there to talk to the homeowner. They're apparently more than willing to put screening around the walls.
The project is for a new retaining wall and some grading changes in the existing side yard of the house. We're treating, in terms of setbacks, we treat the house as having 3 fronts. But, we're going to the south side here. We're requesting a coverage variance. The house, including patio, is slightly allow for coverage of 100%. Wall, adding additional 45%.
Additional how much?
45%.
Okay.
So it ends up being about 110 or
45.
Yeah, 55%.
45%.
That can't be
Is that a
right.
problem?
Yeah.
The retaining walls are simply associated with flattening this area of the yard. So typically, the issue with building coverage in terms of a potential negative impact would be runoff that is generated from it. The slope currently is very steep, so any effort that you make to flatten that slope actually improves runoff. It slows the waters down and allows it to percolate. So I think the flattening of this area, though, there's a slight bit of impervious surface that's being added, which is the top of the wall. The effect, the net impact is a real benefit in terms of stormwater. And then also there's a benefit to have a flat play yard for the house. I think that was other than that, we have talked about erosion control and screening with the planning board. Since this was submitted to you, there have been changes in the planting plan that was submitted to the planning board, where there's a continuous privet hedge here now that's going to be extended to the end of the wall, so that we can erosion impact this way. And from the south, because we're proposing to take down the tree, we've added some for ornamentals in this area to mitigate for that tree that's coming.
The village is requiring you to take down that tree, is that right?
They asked to take it down, yes, or the village, the landscape architect asked to, now we're gonna go back to the planning board, I'm not sure the ECB is on the same page.
Okay. As I understood it, the wall is going to go along the property next to the street. And you're going to have a privet hedge outside of that between the wall and the street.
There's an existing curb that just mature right between, in that line now, it stops short at the end of the wall, so it would be built in.
To take it out to the end of the wall. Now, are you also adding to the wall perpendicular to the street for a short distance?
This is new, yes. So this is also, there's a grade differential that's doing this, and that wall is mediating between this existing sloped grade and this flat grade. This wall basically follows the slope grade, so it doesn't really have visual impact from offsite.
And as I understood it, the applicant is going to screen that as well.
Yes, there's two new larger stripes that are going in hawthorns.
Okay. And if we make it a condition of approving this, that you put the screening in and maintain it, then will that be a part of it?
Now it's already.
The plan also shows a couple of these small circular walls, which I gather to protect the trees. I
Yes,
I
sir.
talked to the woman there, Bruce. Everywhere I go, Bruce has been there before.
Paving the way.
Yes, the tree wells, and they've been calculated in the, yeah.
Okay, John, would you go to your A 0.10 page? So just so I get the coverage, your front yard, because of the fact that you do have multiple front yards, you've got a 50-foot requirement and a 10-foot setback.
Right.
You're not changing that, you're not making it any better or any worse.
No.
If you look at your coverage diagrams, if I'm right, you've got two small areas in the upper right corner. If you look at the proposed coverage down there, you've got two walks of 11 square feet and 17 square feet. That's new, right?
That is a set of steps. There's existing steps here now that didn't show up on the survey, but there's some loose laid rock that's going up there, so we're replacing that, and I put it into the coverage calculation. And then the ones facing to the south would be similar. They would mediate the two rises that are down to the new grade.
Okay, and the other wall, as you define it, is going from 12 square feet to 8.
Right.
So you're saying 4 square feet there. And then you've got two 17 square foot, the other walls, I think Don was just talking about, inland, down there, that adds 34 square feet.
Right.
And then the big addition is the wall on the walk.
One of these walls that's shown here is associated with the tree that they've asked us to take down. But at the same time, they've asked us to enlarge the radius of this wall. So I think that will end up being a wash. So I let, we didn't have time to make this change after the submission. But the radius of this will increase by 1 foot, which will increase the wall, the length of the wall by probably 2 square feet. And this 17 square feet is going to go away. So,
Okay, so what you got is you're gonna have slightly different plans with the planning board subsequent to this.
right.
So if we were to approve your application with the coverage numbers that you're presenting here or less, you could live with that,
Yes. Yes.
or no change, right?
Right.
Either way. Okay. Any questions or comments on the board?
Well, just a comment about that. Just because the numbers stay the same, you could, I mean, I don't think this is likely to happen, but you could dramatically change something and have the same numbers or less. So I think I have to be more careful about that.
I'm not
You can
suggesting come
say
back.
the word, really the only change is going to be the elimination of the street well and the mud. How that's it.
Yeah, I think I understand. Let's put it this way. If we were to approve this and subject to the existing plans or the elimination of one of those two tree wells, that'll work. Okay. All right. Is that okay with you?
You invited me here tonight.
Well, I'm always glad to have you.
It's best to have the approval for the second tree plan, because we might go back and the ECB says keep the tree.
So that's some flexibility.
Okay. All right.
So it's one or two tree walls, but the total area of the tree walls not to exceed 34 feet.
There you go. There you go.
35, I think it's 34, right. Okay. And the biggest, and then the other addition is the additional wall you're putting along the street. Okay. All right. I think, as explained and slightly modified perhaps, this application seems reasonable to me. I'm sorry it's taken so long to get even this part of it resolved. Not here, but what do you do? What's the procedure?
I'm not sure. I think this is a new requirement for the planning board. It didn't give approval contingent of this, so we're going to go back to the planning board, so maybe we can get it resolved with Ed before we.
I mean, the excavation is to flatten the land there, right?
Right. I mean, they got started without permits, and I think they were told to stop it. There is erosion control that was in place, and so we've made them put erosion control in place and just holding until they have proper approvals.
Okay. So, yeah.
And it seems to be some reason, which is really helpful.
Okay, I will move to approve the application as explained with the footnote or caveat that we just discussed. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, we'll vote from the left, Evan? Yes.
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 Okay. John, what would you have said?
Yes. Without comment.
Good night, John, thank you. And last is the Cayman Board. I don't like any less.
Same amount.
You have your approval mailing.
I submitted it when everything impacted this if you want to see it. So James Brown for Studio Park and Lauren and Matthew Kamen, 5 Oxley Terrace. So essentially, our clients are proposing work in kind of a pre-existing non-conforming issues that they already have with the person's property. There was an existing garage that was already over the setback to the north and to the west. It's been in place for a long period of time. The work that we're proposing in that area is to do a concrete garage. There was previously a deck on that area. There was a roof quite around there. You can see the extension of the garage right now. There's a door that leads to nowhere. Essentially, just to make a rubber membrane roof. So at the planning board, we've requested to put an unenclosed portion of that area. Unenclosed. Temporary seasonal space to be put in. And in addition to that, there was an at-grade patio, hardscape, essentially bluestone, or mason bluestone, that was impervious, as well as a concrete path extended to it. What we were proposing is the elimination of that and exchanging it for a raised elevated deck, an open deck with gravel and metal. Some hardscape for window wellness, for stairwell access, and also eliminating the concrete path for just pavers at grade. Something essentially keeping a little for 2 variances. We're looking for an okay for a variance that's already in place, like a pre-existing non-conforming to the northern setback and the western setback. And also, we are over on lot coverage, and what we're suggesting is trading line for less impact and a more pervious application rather than landscape at the same time. Those are the 2 items that we're requesting.
Okay, could you turn to your page, your zoning board page, L100.00? Okay. Couple of things. If you look at the the upper right-hand corner where you've got the numbers. Yeah. The side yard setback, the existing is 9.5 feet inside the setback, but you're not changing that. And the rear yard setback is 29.35, that's also within the established setback, but you're not changing that. Okay. Now, you've got a side yard setback to the south, required 15 feet, existing 12.94, no change, variance requested, no. Why no?
I'm not doing any work inside that setback, except for the hardscape at grade. I'm not proposing any structure inside of that 15-foot.
The hardscape is itself within the setback, though, isn't it?
The hardscape, the pavers are, correct.
So you need a variance for that, don't you?
Even for permeable pathway along that, it's essentially just pavers and grass.
Okay, when you say pavers, that sounds hard to me.
Well, it's like a 12 by 12 paver. Correct.
There's grass in between them, so that's the difference.
Is that
Right
it?
now, yeah, right now it's an exposed aggregate concrete single pour from front to back, and we're basically turning it into grass. And what I have shown is a bluestone paver.
And how much grass is in between? Is it 2 inches or?
More like 8. It's a big step. It's not a tight pave, so.
Okay, good, thank you. And then down below that, you have the lot coverage table.
Correct.
You got a garage 276, existing, proposed 0. The garage isn't going away.
No, but you're counting that on the enclosed porch.
Yeah.
Go ahead, go with it.
Right, okay. But you're not proposing to do anything to the garage?
No. Everything that we're doing is above the garage.
So the enclosed porch is above the garage, it doesn't change the coverage at all?
Correct. That's why we're doing it that way.
Okay, and then the hard patio existing of 550 square feet, you're taking that out?
Yes.
The rear patio retaining or reducing by 10?
Yes.
And then the rear deck, which is largely going where the patio was, you're adding 342 square feet?
Correct.
Okay. And then you've got the south concrete path, which is what you described a moment ago that you're taking out, that's 187.
Correct.
And then tell us what the 4 items are below and to the right of that, proposed patio steps and so on.
Sure. So, essentially speaking, what we're removing is that 500, that 550 you were talking about, you mentioned, as well as that large paper path. What we're exchanging that for essentially is the proposed patio steps, which is, that's the 167, which is this area in front of the new raised deck. The proposed garage steps are the only new item that's actually kind of outside of the.
So you skip the basement steps and
Most of that's on the other portion. The basement steps are essentially the window well to get into a door on the lower level. That is in the same boundary as the existing patio.
Okay.
That's on this left-hand portion. The proposed paver path, that's what I was discussing before. That was the path along the southern.
With the 8 inches grass between the
Correct.
Okay.
And the
Garage steps.
garage steps are the thing that's outside of our existing boundary, which is essentially getting us up to the other pathway. That's this area here, next to the existing retaining wall.
Are those garage steps add to the intrusion into the setback?
Yes, everything outside of that line is in the setback.
But it's more in the setback than what's there now.
Correct, there's nothing. It's now all grass. There's no pathway to the back door. It's essentially all through grass. So what we're doing is proposing, it's about an 8-foot difference from the back corner of the house to the lower King Street. So what we're essentially doing is getting us back up to the existing grade that's on the opposite side of the existing retaining wall that's there today.
Okay. So that's the only addition, as I see it, to the incursion to the setback requirements,
Correct.
those proposed garage steps.
I mean, everything a lot of it is outside of the boundary. That's the next extension that is new from our own collision.
Questions or comments from the board?
Never is that. Okay.
Um,
What do you think he is?
This application is a little more complicated than the others we had tonight, but I think net, if my numbers are right, you actually reduced the coverage by 3 square feet. Sort of a nod to the board, but it's always useful.
Say under.
And, I mean, the application seems to me at least, to make sense, and to not, again, materially increase the incursion to the setbacks, or the coverage, actually, as I say, it's reduced very slightly. So, there are no other comments or
I
questions?
just have a comment.
Sure.
Table on page L100, top right.
Yeah.
It's a 4-foot reduction.
I've got 3.
Well, that's okay, but the shows 1 point, should be a minus 1, is that a negative 1.66? It's not an increase, it's a decrease, is it not?
Right.
I don't know if it's still minus
The line he's
1.6.
talking about is the last line,
The lot coverage.
under the heading setbacks and lot info.
Yeah.
And under proposed, you've got 27 to 46 square feet.
Unless you're suggesting because it's in the parentheses, that's a deduct? Is that what you're suggesting there? Or not?
Oh, no, that percentage, we're still over. That's the percent over that we are. That was actually, the 1.66 is, the existing coverage to date is the 2750. That's based on today's coverage. The
But that's way over 1.6%.
Well, no, up 166% over allowable coverage. Allowable coverage is 1654.
Gotcha.
Which was over from the day the house was built.
Okay.
So what I'm suggesting is that it was actually
1.66 times.
7 or 8 before, now it's a little better.
Got it.
That should be times, not percent.
Yeah, you're right, Artie. I thought that was a reduction of 1.66% too.
I understand, because it's probably close to what the value of it actually is now.
Artie, you had something else?
No, sir.
All right, I will move to approve this application as submitted. Are you done with the planning board? Do I have a second?
Yes.
We'll vote from the right.
Vote yes.
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 Yes.